Good afternoon. We are from Nevada State College, here to present our strategic solution for the Jacksonville Jaguars. My name is Dustin. This is Brianna. This is Julio, and that is Victoria. So a quick overview of our presentation. Quick overview of our presentation. First, I will address the problem, and then we'll discuss some strategic solutions, and then we'll discuss the implementation of those solutions. So as far as the problem is concerned, we identified multiple problems within the text provided to us. There was a lot of issues with fan interaction and fan engagement, and there were some issues with fan viewership. Now, a common theme that you'll see throughout this presentation is that we are falling behind in several metrics. One of the metrics provided to us was that we are 29th out of 32 based on a study done by Michael Lewis of Emory University. Now, this study was done using a metric of 3 equities. The equities were calculated as such. Social equity was done based on fan interaction on social medias. Fan equity was done based on fan purchasing of merchandise, and road equity was generated based on revenue generated from away games. Now, the 3 strategies that we have come up with to counteract these was an app update, which will help us fix a currently underwhelming app, social media, which will help us engage the next generation, and a stream event, which will help us play inside of a new market. Now, the objectives of each of these strategies are to increase profitability, to reach the untapped segment in the market, and to ensure future growth. Now, that untapped segment of the market that we have identified is Generation Z. Now, the reason why we want to nail down on Generation Z was another study done by Michael Lewis, the same professor, stated that Generation Z has more anti-sport fans than avid sport fans of any other generation in the past history. Why should we care about that? It really matters because Generation Z is the upcoming generation, and they're the ones that are going to be raising Generation Alpha, the one after them. If we don't grab them now, the history of sports is going to be in dire need in terms of customer and viewers. Now, to talk about our first strategy, I'll hand it over to Julio.
Thank you, Dustin. I'll be talking about our app strategy in which we'll be providing solutions in order to fix the Jaguars' underwhelming mobile app. This will be a step into improving our social as well as our fan equity. So how's the app doing? Well, I'm glad you asked, because according to Paranoid Fan Incorporated, which is our developer for the app, they state that on a monthly basis, we gained 763 monthly downloads. In comparison, the Colts have 1,391 downloads, which is a 182% difference. Moreover, the Titans have 3,303 downloads, which is a 432% difference. It should be noted that these stats are during the offseason, which show that they might be inaccurate, but they still show proportional trends of our lackluster performance. Now, on to reviews as well as ratings. App compiles some data based on the Apple App Store as well as the Google Play Store, and they determined that our app has a 3-star rating. For reviews, we have a total of 2,414 reviews, which sounds like a lot, but when you put into perspective that the Titans have 20,000 reviews on the App Store alone, it's not so great. So what sets these apps apart? Well, for starters, here we have the Jaguars, the Colts, the Raiders, as well as the Titans app. Initially, they all have the same visual aspects, which is the user interface. This is the way that they look visually. So they all have the same basic offerings of team stats, videos, photos, audio, podcasts, all that jazz. But the one thing that sets them apart is their user experience, which is the storytelling as well as the engaging factors and features that these apps have. Now, what are our key features? Well, I've determined some key features in our app, which are the fan cam, the Jag Bids, as well as the Jaguars Arcade. So the fan cam is an interactive stadium camera that takes 360-degree images of the stadium during live matches. As you can see on the screen, that is what the feature looks like during in the app itself. For Jag Bids, it is an auction-style marketplace where you can bid on used match gear as well as signed memorabilia. For the Jaguars Arcade, it's an interactive and rewarding experience where you can participate in mini games during live games as well. Overall, these are some great features that with some further optimization and development, they can have great potential to target Generation Z. So for our app solutions, we're thinking about app development. Focus on these key features which I've just talked about and develop them more and optimize them. So for the fan cam, having possible features of social media, exporting these images to be allowed to be shared, tagging your friends and family, that sort of stuff. Now for the Jaguars Arcade, having possibly a point tier system, which can allow exclusive perks and features on our app to be used. And for our app stores, as I said earlier, we are lacking in this department. So allowing transparent and honest reviews and encouraging our users to leave honest and transparent reviews is really uplifting because it'll raise our value on the App Store. And remember that pointer system, which I mentioned for the Jaguars Arcade, this can also be implemented during our App Store, which serves as an incentive to leave a review in the first place. For app promotion, at the moment, we are currently not promoting our app whatsoever. And if we're making changes to our app, it is in our best interest to promote these changes. Now, to look at our app outlook, at the moment, we are unable to pinpoint our costs directly due to our lack of financial statements. But for costs, we're just looking at our app updates as well as a development team. According to Fierce Wireless, who is a mobile telecoms company, they average that our costs are around 15 to 20% of our original app cost. For revenue, we're looking at our app downloads as well as our indirect merchandising and online sales. It should be noted that app downloads are merely a supplemental form of revenue, given that Forbes has determined that on average, each app download generates 12 cents of revenue. Now I'll be handing it over to Victoria, who will be talking more about social media.
Thank you, Julio. As you mentioned, I will go through our social media strategy, which intends to increase both road and social equity. Using social media allows us to increase awareness, engagement, and interest in the Jaguar franchise. And not only does it do that, but it acts as a natural transition to make this new segment of fans a part of our marketing efforts. In its most basic form, we can use social media to distribute content, attract new followers, interact, and engage with these followers by creating and uploading sports content instantaneously. Now, when we're considering the ways we need to engage with Generation Z, we have to consider what their preferences are. As such, according to product manager Paul Minardi, we can do so by creating short form videos and posting them on social media where then they can consume it on their smartphones. Minardi also mentions that the long-term outlook on sports is going to require us to look for fans that prohibit them from ever seeing the game in person. Social media allows us to do that. Social media allows a kid from Arkansas to develop a passion and an interest in a team in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, it is important to note that we don't need to have a social media presence on every single social platform. We should have them on the sites that Gen Z visits the most, including YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, and Twitter falls closely behind. According to the Global Web Index, 44% of Gen Z is checking their social profiles hourly, and 71% spend 3 hours a day or more on social media. Almost 80% are using it to discover and learn about new brands, and even a third of them are persuaded to actually buy something. So if they're on these social media sites scrolling already, why not push our presence on there and help them increase their interest in our franchise? Now, it is important here to note that we are dead last in terms of all the NFL teams when it comes to our social media presence. The Dallas Cowboys have not won a Super Bowl for over 2 decades, yet they're still the most valuable franchise in the NFL. Following closely behind is the New England Patriots. But the one thing that they both have in common is an incredible social media presence. So the one thing that we can take away here is that we can definitely be doing more. Now, what can we do? We can start by posting organic, free of cost social media posts. As marketing strategist Paige Cooper says, this is going to be the way to foster connection and build fan loyalty. Now, on game day, we can have game day fan challenges and predictions, and we can start by posting game highlights, which accommodates the low attention span of Gen Z. We can also have behind the scenes footage of athletes signing deals and touring the facilities and coaching interviews. And then after we post, we wait for the likes, the comments, the shares, the retweets, the questions, and we interact and engage with our new segment of fans by retweeting out whatever they have mentioned, answering any of their concerns, liking their posts to show that we're engaging. Now, at the most basic level, social media is going to turn followers into fans, and our fans are our customers. Social media can increase awareness and engagement, which leads into an increase in the potential of sales. Don Smith mentions people like the ease of social media because they never have to leave the app in order to buy something. Now, social media is going to give people a sense of familiarity and interest over our team over others. With the increase in views, we'll earn revenue, and with the increase in brand awareness and the decrease in marketing costs, our profitability is sure to increase. I'd like to now pass it over to Brianna to introduce our charitable solution.
Thank you, Victoria. Our third strategic solution is an online streaming charity event. It will build upon the past 2 solutions. Additionally, it will create company shared value and build awareness in a growing market. Also, it will build our fan and social equity. Streaming is an immediate and continuous method of accessing content through the internet. Most people know it from channels like Netflix, Hulu, Disney+. However, today we will focus solely on live coverage sites like Twitch, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live. It not only directly aligns with our direct target market, the younger generation, it also aligns with the evolution of how the general population consumes media. According to Business Insider, 63% of 18 to 34-year-olds are on one of these sites. Additionally, Facebook Live has reported that they get 6 times more the interactions on live coverage over pre-recorded videos. And companies are starting to catch on. In the last 5 years, 28% of companies have added more budget onto their streaming channels. We want to make sure Jaguars jump into the segment before it becomes oversaturated and they're left behind. Now, exactly what are we going to be streaming? We want to highlight our influencers and also our players. According to Marketing Institute, they have stated that our players' personalities are more interesting than the actual company, and we want to highlight that. Additionally, we want to highlight our philanthropy efforts combined by our marketing efforts to create company shared value. According to the Harvard Business Review, 70% of Gen Z population likes to buy from brands that are social equitable opposed to ones that are not. We'll also increase our fan engagement, logo placements, sponsorship dollars, and PR coverage. Companies like Pizza Hut have added on to this segment. In the past series where they've highlighted influencers and also pro gamers, they've accumulated 5,400,000 live viewers, which later translated to 26 million ad minutes. Now, we have here 2 recommendations of influencers we could possibly use. According to Harvard Business Review, influencers are the hot topic right now. They bring more high-profile customers, and they also bring 6 times more the engagement. These 2 influencers have already worked with the NFL before, specifically Thursday Night Football on Twitch, and they've seen excellent results. Now let's look at our outlook. For costs, we don't have to worry about too much because streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch is free of cost. Additionally, our players are already allocated in budgets we have currently. We just have to think about time and scheduling. Our main price point we have to think about is our influencers. Luckily for us in the sports business, it is industry standard to pay our influencers with packages and experiences rather than monetary value to maintain that transparency. Now let's look at our revenue. We have the possibility of using video and display ads using Amazon's platform on Twitch. Additionally, it yields about $500 per 4 minutes per hour, and we think we can do better than Pizza Hut. Also, we have a better yield ROI for our marketing dollars in influencer marketing and streaming marketing than traditional channels. It yields about $5.60 for every marketing dollar. We can take a low-performing channel that we currently have, get some of that budget and test it into these new segments and see how they turn out. Additionally, we also have tax deductions that will lower expenses in the long term with our philanthropy efforts. Now I'll pass it on to Dustin, who will talk about our implementation process.
Thank you so much, team. So finally, we get to our implementation process. Now, it's important to note all 3 of these strategies tie into each other quite closely. The app can be used to app, and then the social medias can be used to advertise both of those. Now, we decided to take out a page of John Cotter's books and implement something called short-term goals and a timeline. So first and foremost, the app project, we decided that we should probably begin in May, and it'll be an ongoing project that will require updates and keep track of. The short-term goals that we have set for this so that we can meet and know that we're doing well is to meet with a developer, to plan the budget, and to create an R&D schedule. Next, we have our social media, which we plan to start during sometime around August, and this will also be an ongoing project. This could change depending on how well the app project goes, but we'll take it as we see it. And for this one, our short-term goals is a little bit different. So we decided to set benchmarks instead of direct goals, meaning that we will stop and look at our followers and our likes, and we'll use that as a time to see how we're doing. We'll also use that to establish roles and responsibilities and also apply corrective action, meaning we can see what we're doing right and we can see what we're doing wrong and adjust accordingly. This will allow us to change for rapid situations. And finally, we get to our streaming event, which will be sometime in November to December, which can change based on how successful it is. The short-term goals that we set for that is to identify influencers, establish those relationships, and to schedule the event. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you got a kick out of it.